What's up, guys? Welcome to the Squat Plug, episode 42. It's been quite a while. Today we have Brian Bellitto of Gleason Performance Training, or he's a coach at Gleason Performance Training. We're going to chat about Northeast Regionals, and we don't really have like a solid topic of discussion here. So I figured we'd start with Northeast Regionals, and then, I don't know, we'll just get into some powerlifting stuff, some general powerlifting stuff. So, hello, Brian. How you doing
Hi.
today? Hi.
Good. How are you guys doing?
We
Good.
are well.
I'm all right.
Great.
Just here in old timey Irish pub, as you guys can see. Just do my thing.
Yeah, that's completely normal. It's only noon.
So let's talk about first off, let's get the audience to know you a little bit better. So
Sure.
Brian, you are one of the coaches out of GPT. How long have you been doing that for?
Oh, that's a good question. I think
Eons.
eons. I think it's almost 8 or 9 years, probably.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I could make that up. I have no idea. Time is not real. So
It's a flat circle.
I've been there for a while.
Time is a human construct, anyways.
Exactly. That's the better answer.
Yes, it is.
So I've been doing that and like powerlifting, coaching, and personal training and stuff like that. Mainly out of GPT. We're now in Ansonia, Connecticut. We were in Derby down the street for 10 years, and Ryan had the gym at another spot for 2 years before that, and then his garage before that. So he's been coaching for, I don't know, like a millennium. So yeah. I've basically spent all my time coaching out of there. I did some training with some friends before that, but that's been where I've been at forever.
Okay. What made
And
you
you're
get into
also
coaching?
Brian is also a wonderful musician.
Yes,
I feel like I had to bring that up.
you can. There's literally a Slayer beat going on, your dryer in the background. So
Yeah, I
that's
figured
fun.
it was appropriate given the noise in the background.
Given the current trend.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually how I found. Strangely enough, so I grew up within like the hardcore scene in Connecticut, and have stayed. I grew up as a teenager going to shows and stuff, and I've stayed, connected to people and still involved with it. But that's actually how I found powerlifting, and I found Ryan and the gym, because I used to train with friends from shows. We used to do like powerlifting training and strongman training before there was really any powerlifting meets around here, or there was just like multiply and I didn't know any of it. So that was how a friend of mine, my friend Carl, we used to train like together in a garage, and we literally go to like an abandoned parking lot and do like prowler and yoke and like, I don't know, just lift heavy shit. So that was my intro to like getting into it. And then he knew Ryan, so I eventually joined there after the first meet that we had in Connecticut. So there is some connection to that. Yeah, it all relates back to me being a terrible musician.
I mean, I've heard your music. It's really good. So
Well, thank you.
I wouldn't
you.
go as far as to say terrible.
Yeah.
No, it's on in the background right now. I could hear it.
It's not bad. I'm not too big into like heavy metal and whatnot, but it's not bad music. You guys know what you're doing. Well produced. So what made you get into like actually coaching itself? What's your background?
Yeah, so I grew up in music, like not loud screaming, yelling music. Like as a kid, I was a drum and percussionist, so I did that, and it got me into college. And I went for like music business, and I was talking to your brother before the show about how it's like the worst business ever, and my brother and sister are involved in it now, but like I'm not that like powerlifting coaching is fucking raking in the money, but like it's a really wild, disjointed landscape if you work in the music business. So I did that, and then I dropped out of college, and I was lifting the whole time. So eventually, once I like found GPT in the gym, and I was like basically helping and handling people, just having no clue what I was doing. I jumped into that. So I just kind of shadowed Ryan. I shadowed people for years until I was like, oh, I should do this, and eventually it became my full time thing. Like I don't know, like a decade later. So
Shabby.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So that was
Not too bad. You guys do a pretty damn decent job at GPT, as evidenced by your team's performance this past was it this past weekend? This past weekend of regionals.
yeah, yeah. It was this week,
What did you
right?
guys place again?
For the teams,
Yeah.
we didn't do it. I wish we did. I forgot, and at the end, you guys all got called up, and I was like, oh, all our friends are up there. Why didn't we do it? Like it was funny. Like it was cool to see. Like I think we get so used to like seeing the same people at at regionals. Even like people come down to like our meets at Connecticut, and we'll go outside and see. But it, like when they called everybody up, I was like, oh yeah, that's all our friends. Like we're every team in the Northeast. It's a kind of cool. It's a cool community to like see everyone up there. But we didn't end up signing up. I think because we had a small team this year as opposed to other years.
Copy, copy.
But no, our team did well. I think we had seven or so people that we coach as a team, and then there's like 5 or 6 of people from the gym that we train with that again are all coached by our friends. So when you go to meets like that, it's cool because they're like, oh yeah, like this is like I trained with that guy last week. He's like now my competitor or coaching against this person. It's like a cool competitive atmosphere, but like I think we all know each other at this point. So it was cool. It's always cool to do. It's cool. Like, nationals is fun and everything, but regionals feels like a national level meet, but we all know each other, so it's kind of cool.
It's a lot more intimate. I have to say, like Jan runs the hell out of these meets, man.
Yeah.
Every meet he's run these past few years has gotten better and better, and regionals is really his his pièce de résistance, so to speak. Dude, just very well put together. The production. I mean, you look at the ceiling, you see like all the colors and so on and so forth, the flags and the
Yeah.
marketing and that kind of stuff. I was like, oh shit, this is pretty cool.
That venue's cool.
He really outdid himself this year. I think like the whole warm up situation with it being downstairs and having to run upstairs was a little bit, was a little bit tough, but it was manageable. I think that was the only downside I can actually think about, to be honest. The meet itself was very, very smooth.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Like I knew that. So we did regionals 2 years ago there, and then I'd been there before, and I actually went to a roller derby game there in that room. It was just like way too nice for like a roller derby game. But I was like, oh, this is like a cool venue to come back to. And I was like, wait, the warm room's downstairs. And I was like, thank God there's an escalator. Cause I just pictured like people with knee sleeves too tight, like falling down the stairs. But it wasn't that bad. Like I think, I forget who I was talking to about when we had nationals in Atlanta in 2000 something. I don't know what year it was, but it was like, the warm-up rooms were like way, way far away and you couldn't hear anything and there was no like Wi-Fi. So I was like, this isn't that bad. I was like, it's as long as you like prepare for it. But it was a good setup for it.
Yeah, I enjoyed. What are some of the remarkable things I guess you saw out there? Things I guess that stuck in your mind, like funny things that probably could have been a little bit better and that kind of stuff.
Funny things. Huh. I don't know. Nothing stood out that was like remarkable or anything. I guess, I feel like I'm in this routine of and you guys probably are too, of like local meet every month, then nationals, then regionals and local meet. It's just kind of like the routine of the schedule what we do. But no, I mean it was nothing that comes to mind. I mean, I think one of our girls won her pro card, which was cool to see. We had some people that were competitive to podium. It's always cool in the moment when that happens. But I feel like it's not, I don't know, that stuff all like, it's cool in the moment, but like I get just excited to see my person who's like, I don't know, battling for like a 2 kilo PR and it's like their first regionals. Like nothing really stands out more. So yeah, nothing really
Yeah,
crazy.
sure. I mean,
It felt short too, but
Yeah, it was pretty short though. Obviously, like it was very fast.
Yeah, it was fast.
But to your point though, we go into like coach mode and basically like we're focused on that. You know, like worrying about the other stuff and whatnot just basically goes out the window.
Yeah,
You're vying for positions if you find yourself capable about being within reach. You're looking for like records and so on and so forth and things of that nature, as opposed to like worrying about the other kind of things, whatnot. All right. So, Mark, what did you see that was interesting, or like funny, or weird, or like that could have been done better at regionals this past weekend?
Um, I think funny is an interesting question to ask.
what
Like
was funny?
what was funny about regionals?
Make that the topic of the podcast.
Make
The name of it.
it
Top
was
10 funniest
it was
things at regionals.
it was a very comical weekend, let me say.
Yes.
No, I mean, Jan does a great job with that venue. I was there in 2023 for Northeast Regionals. I was there in 2024 for the World Cup. I was there earlier this year for New York States, and now, you know, later this year, just recently for regionals. And it seems every year he's done better, or every meet he's done better with that venue, to the point now it's like it's effectively like a national meet,
Yes.
it resembles a national meet. Like even the staff that he had there, I saw Greg Page, I saw the Mark Steiners, and I was like, is this regionals, or is this nationals? It was just
Yeah.
it was really cool to see all those familiar faces, and he put on a great production, like hiring Barbell Productions to help out, all the photographers he had there. He had a live DJ that I didn't even realize that there was a DJ there until
I didn't either.
after the event was over and they were posting about it. And I was like, oh wow,
Be sick if he was scratching in the middle of lifts, but I didn't see him do that.
that would have been really cool.
The red lights.
Yeah, but I mean, like, between coaching, it was really cool because, like, Peak Collaborative, this was probably our biggest meet to date. We had 10 lifters there. We coached every session. So I was really busy. This was also James's kind of first outing. We brought James. And, like, when we did have a few moments, like, Soph would find me and she'd be like, we got to go back to the hotel to feed James and take care of him. And so I didn't really get a chance to sort of just like hang out in the venue. White Toe had a table. I didn't really get much of a chance to hang out with you guys at the table, just because it was so chaotic. But yeah, I mean, it was really cool. He brought out a very big crowd. I'm sure the majority of the crowd was like friends and family of lifters and things like that, but still, they had a great turnout. It was arguably, I think it was like the biggest powerlifting meet held in the Northeast, like, ever. Right. I think by the end of the weekend, there was just under 400 lifters there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I thought the turnout was incredible. I thought the production was incredible. I think the only downside was the warm-up room being downstairs. Like, it was great that they had the escalator. I think that was really helpful, but I don't know. It was like with Louise at one point, and the way that the way the platforms were kind of running, and the way that we were all sort of, you weren't necessarily warming up with people that were on your same platform. I mean, you never are, right? Like you could warm up with people in different flights and on different platforms and things like that, but there started to be such a discrepancy with time that there was one point where Louise's platform was running. I think it was a bit behind.
I got a fire. I'll see you guys in a bit. Sorry.
But yeah, there was a point where the discrepancy between like platforms in terms of like when the flights were starting, when the flights were finishing, were becoming pretty big, and they were cutting into the warm up. So like, I think it was for bench, and like we were waiting to warm up, and like Louise's platform had started, his platform, the flight right before him had started. They had gone through all their first attempts, and the warm-up platform we were on, were like still busy warming up with like I
Yeah.
think squat even. I don't remember the
Yeah.
lift exactly because this like kept happening, but it was at the
Yep.
point where I was watching us get to like the end of the platform, get to the end of first attempts, and I'm like, oh my god, like we got to start warming up. Like he hasn't even taken the
Yep.
bar yet, so like they finally finished, and I'm like, all right, throw the bench in there, whatever. And I'm like, do you even need to take the bar? Can you just like start with a red? You know, it was
Yep.
like so I had to like cut his warm ups down, and then by the time we finished his warm ups and got up because he was like, I don't know, third in the flight or something.
Mhm.
We get up there and they're like, is that Lewis? And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's
No, it's
Louise.
not. It's Louise, you
But
son
they're
of a
like,
bitch.
but they're like, oh, bar's loaded. I'm like, go out there. You know what I mean? Which is
Yeah.
just like not an ideal situation for the lifter. You know what I mean? Because it's like I feel like you're just rushing and you don't really have time to gather yourself or your thoughts or whatever the case may be. And then like you're just kind of like up the escalator into the warm up area or warm up area, the waiting area, whatever. And then you're right into on the platform, and things ended up going okay, but you know, it's just like I think that was a sort of less than ideal situation because
Dude,
like
that's the
for
shit that people don't like. That's why I was trying to frame it to. I think I was talking to my client TJ. I'm like, dude, this is a different meet. I was like, I know it doesn't feel like you're like, oh, just powerlifting in a different place. I'm like, that shit happens all the time at those meets. And
yeah,
I just stopped going in with the idea of like, I would love to hit PRs on everything. And that will be our plan until we fucking don't. Because
yeah,
like you skipped all of your warm ups or, something different happened or whatever.
yeah.
But that's like,
No, I was just saying like you have like, 5 or 6 warm ups, you cut them down to 3, and you did the 3 in like 6 minutes, and you're
yep,
like, yeah, you like the last warm up, the way the last warm up moves, you're like, oh shit, to yourself, like, and like, things often end up being fine, but like sometimes they don't go the way that you kind of plan for them to go, and that's
yeah,
especially when you spent a lot of money to go out and, the meet's already more than your average local meet, because
yeah,
it's regionals, and then you're getting a hotel room for the night. That's money, you're driving a couple hours. That's gas money, food, it's food so it's like, it's a fairly expensive trip to
yeah,
go out and like do okay. But no, it was still funny because like, Louise and I were like scrambling to do his warm ups, and we had to cut
yeah,
his warm ups down, and like we had to rush up the escalator to get to the platform. And then on Sunday afternoon when I coached Tate, things were like, it was funny when it started out, things were kind of going quickly and moving fast. And then as we got towards like bench and deadlifts, like things started to slow down considerably. And I
yeah,
remember like, because we warmed up on the same platform, Brian, and
yeah,
like we were at the point where it was like, oh, I think we can wait like 10 more minutes to take the next warm up. Like, I'm like, what is moving so slowly? You know what I mean? Like, it was like Tate kept looking at me, and I'm like, soon, soon,
yeah,
like, and I don't like that either. Like, I feel like there's this sweet spot for like timing warm ups and like how long they should go. But it's like
yeah.
when they drag out, it's like, oh my God, like, let's get this fucking show on the road. But then also when they're like too quick, it's like, you feel like you're not quite ready to step on the platform.
Um, yeah, dude. I mean, that's like, I think I have done this so much where when it comes to warm ups, I was like, let's just keep going. Like, don't stop. Like, I'd rather be done, especially at meets like that earlier. Like, not like, so you're cold, but I'm like, I think I end up giving that, like, people like, oh, chill out. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I need to finish these warm ups early. But like, I just cruise through them because there's so much shit that can happen. And,
Yeah.
like, there's a clear advantage to not going first at these huge meets because there's always shit that has to get figured out.
Yeah.
And there's always just like, for us, it's like, all right, well, now we know for the next person. But for you, the person that is the first flight of the first session, like, sorry, like, we had to figure some shit out.
We
But
had
like,
to
that
figure some
happens all
shit
the
out.
time.
I also
Yeah,
think
that's
people
just
put
part of
like
it.
too much stake into like getting cold. It's like
Yeah,
you're not
dude,
gonna
like,
do you're not unless you're like warming up an hour before the meet starts. Like
yeah,
you're not gonna finish your last warm up and then wait 30 minutes unless like
yeah,
I don't know, a very rare emergency were to happen on the platform, and then like they had to stop the meet completely. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like the
yeah.
longest you'll probably wait is like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and like you're not gonna get like quote unquote cold in that time,
No, you do that in training anyway. You take
Yeah.
longer. You
I think
talk for
people,
an hour.
right. I think people just like think that because it gives them more time to sit there in their anxiety about,
Yeah, yeah,
thinking about their opener attempt or whatever the case may be, which tends to be in my experience, like even from my own experience and like coaching lifters, like that first squat is like leading up to that first squat is when lifters have the highest anxiety throughout the
Yeah.
meet, because like you just never know how it's gonna go, or they think they don't know how it's gonna go, and then like
Right.
they go out, smash the opener, white lights, and then all of a sudden it's like a burden has been lifted from your shoulders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like if you just you end that warm up a little too quote unquote early, and then it just gives them more time to overthink, if you will.
But
Yuli has no idea what we're talking about right now.
I just like that you stopped so you can get our sponsor of Arizona Iced Tea to be part of this podcast.
99 cents. They could
Yeah,
have made it
dude.
more expensive, but they chose to keep it this price because they're
We're
not
gonna
limited.
subtly push into inflation at this point. If we could talk about that real quick.
I can't wait to coach Yuli at Mass States, because like he's gonna be like for warm ups, he's just gonna be like, oh no, just put 4 reds on the bar, I'll start there.
That's pretty much what it's going to be.
I know.
That's great.
It stresses me out that he does that, but it also works for him. So I'm just like, all right.
Yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah, I kind of like doing too much of the fucking lower end workouts. It just fucking, I don't know. It biases my lifts to feel heavy. That's how I feel. At least.
Yuli thinks he gets fatigued from squatting 3 reds for a single.
No, I think I fucking calibrate in that direction. I'm like, this is like 3 reds is important. Like, oh, my body goes, oh shit, I got 5 reds on here. Like, what's going on? Just like the less I do, the better it is.
Hey,
Yeah.
That's just how I operate.
for me, I kind of go by like how I'm feeling like on the day. Like if I feel like if I go in and I'm not like fatigued or sore, stiff from a previous workout, like I could take bigger jumps. I could start a little bit heavier. But if I go in, I'm like walking down to the basement and my knee hurts, like walking down the stairs. I'm like, I'm gonna take an extra warm up set with the bar, maybe just to kind of get the blood flowing a little bit.
No, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
the key is just to feel awful every day of your life, and then you at least have a factor that's
Yeah, so
constant in
then
your
when the
life.
sets feel awful, you are prepared.
Oh, it makes
More
sense.
specificity. This is what it is.
Specificity, exactly.
But no, like I experienced regionals is pretty damn good. I want to say the only issue I had was basically just like the platforms in the warm up area. I think they could have did a better job of just like organizing stuff and like having certain platforms marked for people, whatever the case is. But honestly, I kind of get it. I kind of get it.
I mean, for New York States, they did that. They had assigned platforms, which you guys done it at GPT a few times, which is like, to be fair, that's a 60, 70 person meet tops.
Yeah.
So it's like, and there's fewer warm-up platforms, so it tends to be a little bit easier to assign warm-up platforms. But like Jan did it for New York States, and I don't remember how many lifters there were, but there's at least 100, 150 maybe. I don't remember, but like, and it worked out.
Yeah.
So like, I think that would be a little bit more helpful if they did that. I know there was a shit ton of lifters. There was 4 platforms going, more warm-up platforms going, but I think it would be helpful for everyone involved, because, you had people that were like coming up and it's like, oh, I only got 1 lifter. Do you mind if I work in with you guys? And like, you already have 5, 6 people on a platform, and it's going to make everything move considerably slower. But you say yes anyways, because you fucking I feel bad sending, no, go find somebody else, like I hate being that guy. Sometimes I am, because it's like, we have 6, 7 people and I'm sorry, like we can't make it work. But if everyone was assigned a warm-up platform, we could avoid all of that. And we could avoid, like people walking around going, is there a red on this ball? Or is there 2 reds, 3 reds? Like, hey, I just need this real quick. And it's like, dude, you're screwing everything up. Like, I know it takes 10 seconds to do that, but like, have some warm-up room etiquette. You know what I mean?
Or worse yet, having the one person who has like, what you call it, a huge discrepancy with the loading, and has like a very huge discrepancy, I guess, in what the rack height is. So you're going for like a 9, it's like a 15, 16 for this one individual, and this person's like loading like 4 or 5 plates, and then they have like 8 or 10 warm ups. I'm like, what are you doing? You
guys should make a shirt for White Toe that just says, "Can I just get the bar real quick?"
Oh my God, that'd be good.
Only we will know about it. But I was like, yeah, all right, continue.
No, I think that's actually a great idea. We're gonna run with that.
That's every meat handler just walks around with it.
Yeah. No, yeah. Make a note of that.
That stuff though. So I don't know, I think that was the only issue I had there. Controversies. There was
Oh,
one
jeez.
apparent controversy which took place at Northeast Regionals.
And of course, Yuli knows about it.
Yes, I found out because, and I found out oddly enough from Southwest Regionals. I would
There
say
might
not
be more than
Southern
one. I
Regionals.
don't know. I'm interested to see what yours is.
Yeah. So the one that I heard involved a what you call it, especially abled person.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
That's Tom.
well, yeah, Tom is his name. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, this individual bombed out on squats. They did not hit depth, didn't meet the criteria and that kind of stuff. He has a an artificial leg,
Yeah.
you know, on the one side. So
Prosthetic.
that's a place, yes, prosthetic leg. He went up to bench press, had some issues there, had some issues on deadlifts and that kind of stuff. And people were very upset about this. And I believe his son made a post on Instagram talking all, you know, like from anger, what like how dare they, blah blah. Don't they understand? I guess like, you know, he's specially able, so how could they make no accommodations? And they
Hmm.
were very upset, and people in the comments were like talking, you know, all kinds of stuff. And what people failed to realize was that Tom had not registered as a specially abled lifter, but had registered
Mm,
as a master's lifter.
So I will speak on this because his son Tim is a member of our team, and I mean after all of it too, like so his name is Tom Bish. He's like a super upbeat, friendly guy. So even up to him, he like was sort of mad, but he was just like a happy guy about it. Like to me, I was like, what the fuck happened?
yeah.
Um, I think so this might go back into a bigger like discussion too, where like maybe, having, talking to Tim or Tom or Tom's coach, his name is Sam, maybe it's worth talking about. But from what I've learned and what I saw, it was just, there was a little bit of a breakdown in miscommunication, and it wasn't adjusted. And everyone can point the blame. For one, the people who comment on stuff like this, like
I
they're
have no
like
idea.
all breaker about the rules, like I don't know. There's so many things you could talk about, but like talking about an adaptive athlete not following the rules that you deem are necessary, like I don't know, go fuck yourself. Like just do something else. But um, I think that the biggest thing as an organization that we, as like members of USA Powerlifting, that I was most excited about was being more lifter friendly. When we left the IPF,
Mhm.
the biggest thing that one of the things I said was like we should be a lifter friendly organization. No more rules that, why does it matter if someone has a Velcro belt? Why does it matter if, some small rule that like turned people off from lifting in USA powerlifting, and therefore like extraditing them from like our community because we split and fractured? Why this to me seemed like, oh, uh, you know, this is not the right, um,
Hill to die on.
category for you. Let's figure it out together. Instead, it was just like a breakdown and miscommunication. And I can't speak on like the people who, I can't, I'm sure, Jan had a million things going on. I'm sure like Alyssa had a million things going on. So I can't be like, you guys are wrong. Everyone's wrong. Like, why'd you do this to this guy that we know? But it just turned into a mess. And I feel like, in general, I've liked how we've become this lifter-friendly organization. We're including people. Like the fact that we have an adaptive vision rules. It's great. And like honestly, Tom has become like the face of that because we've sent out emails as an organization. We've featured him and posted him. Like it's cool. Like and whenever Tom lifts at our meets, everyone stops.
Mhm.
And like that's awesome. I don't give a shit if some guy's squatting 8 or whatever. Like it's way cooler to me that this dude who's been through like a crazy like amount of adversity in his life is squatting right now with one leg. Like
No,
that's
we love to see it. We love to see it, and I think it honestly comes down to just miscommunication. From what I'm
yeah,
hearing from the reports that I heard, apparently
yeah,
he made his way into the equipment check room, and you know he had his pants on, and they didn't know. They had no idea. Like you know, like you look at a person, you're not just gonna be like, "Hold on a second, is that a prosthetic leg through your pants?" You
yeah.
know, so
Took off your
they
pants
take
right
yeah,
now.
exactly. Yeah, to the pants in real quick, you know, like so
Yeah,
that would never happen. But he basically did put his belt in, put his sleeves in, put his wrist
yeah,
straps in, all that kind of stuff. You know, like went through the entire check, and everything came out clear. And on the
yeah,
paper, it had him down as a master's lifter.
yeah,
Um, I think, I think maybe they could have did like a change last second when they realized what was taking place. I'm not sure why there's a breakdown of that, why that wasn't extended.
yeah,
I mean, he shows up on the platform there, he's ready to squat. You see prosthetic leg, you go, oh, hold on a second,
yeah.
let's make a change here.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine this being the umpteenth time they've dealt with this. I can only imagine this being the first time, and then being caught,
Right.
I guess, with the pants down.
Yeah.
So clearly, a better response is needed here. But I see people I saw in the comments, people throwing a whole lot of vitriol towards USAPL, and I don't think it was that serious. I think it was
Well, I saw it in both directions, honestly. Like,
Yes, true. You're right.
Tim, Tim is his son, and
I'm
like,
sure there were
I
not
get
to
it.
cut you off, but I didn't even know about this, and I didn't see
Yeah.
any of these comments or anything. But I could
I had
only
no idea. To
imagine.
me, I found out after the fact.
I'm sure that some of these comments said things along the lines of, "Well, he should have known better, and he should have signed up for the right category." Yeah, I'm kind of
Yes.
that's what I'm getting from you saying
Yeah.
like, "Oh, there were some yeah," and it's like
Yeah.
sure, I get that to an extent, but like there still could have been I feel like, there could have been a change made on the day, there was
Yeah.
a mistake made, there was a whatever the case may be, to just
Yeah.
kind of like leave him to do just the Masters division like without the
Yeah.
Well, you
adaptive
also have
uh
to put yourself in the position of like the referees and the officials there. Let's just say the person is there lifting as an adaptive lifter, and they put themselves down as masters. You showing up and second guessing what the person signed up for, and saying, "Oh, by the way, I know you signed up for masters, but how about you consider adaptive?" That probably wouldn't be the soundest thing to say. So I don't know whether he approached them and said, "Oh, by the way, I should be adaptive," but I get a feeling that like that conversation. If I had to hazard a guess, again, I don't want to assume. If I had to hazard a
Yeah.
guess, I would assume he probably didn't reach out to them and make a clarification on that. He probably assumed that
He
they'd see the leg and
he he did, and I think there was just some breakdown with like. I think this is still a new category. I know he reached out. I know, I know that he walked in, and maybe you can't tell, but
so
I think the
he
biggest
had reached
thing,
out prior.
yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is, and it's not, and this is, I just like, I get Tim being angry if someone did something that I thought was malicious toward my parents, and it was on a screen, and I was in like a million miles
oh,
away,
same thing.
I break the screen. But like, I get it, but I think there's no, I think to blame the judges where they haven't been exposed to this. One of them was, and one of them someone we know, and like it's still they were approached right before and got misleading information and
Okay.
it changed. But the thing is, his membership card says Tom Bish adaptive athlete. And again,
Mm.
might not be like something you're looking for, and a million people are there and
Yep.
equipment check, but I think that was it's just a new experience, and it's unfortunate that it had to happen that way. And I think out of all this, if we continue on this like be a lifter friendly organization and like, oh yeah, this happened before, let's never do that again.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But
Exactly.
I think things like that will happen with new stuff. It's happened all the time with our organization, I think, but it's unfortunate. I've been angrily responding to people on the internet about it just because like I feel some sense of like he's like that's whenever someone does our meets or there's some extension to our team like and I want to like fight everyone on the internet must be how you feel all the time,
I
Yuli.
can relate.
But like that's that was one of the unfortunate that overshadow things a little bit, but it feel weird because they're like, oh man, like I know that like the meet was ran really well, and I know like I've been to meets Jan does, and like I'm sure it wasn't like, hey, fuck you, you can't do the thing
Yeah,
because
I
it feel
highly
it was
doubt there
just
was
like got lost in the
malicious intent behind bombing
right,
him out. It wasn't
right,
intentional. They were like, oh well, he didn't sign up for the right division, so red lights.
yeah. Well, he signed up for that division, I think, because he was chasing a bench record. So it's interesting too, because it's a new category,
So
along with all these new things. I think and I could be wrong with this. I think he signed up with the intention of a lift that doesn't affect with him being in depth division that he wanted to go for a record. So it was like an M3 bench record or something like that.
Hence
So like
the
I don't think
justification.
someone was like blatantly wrong. I think it was like, oh, there's a
Well,
loophole in the rules.
yeah, could you do because I'm not super familiar with how the adaptive division works, but just like
Mhm.
you can sign up for the open and masters, can you sign up for adaptive and like masters open? Is that
I think that was the discrepancy. Was like, I don't
gotcha?
know if we have that set yet.
Gotcha.
I think
Okay.
it's just like this is a new thing, and maybe everyone wasn't prepared for it.
Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
I hope all this like internet beef blows over to like be like, oh yeah, we just made a mistake. It sucks. It came at the expense of some
Yes.
people we know. But
I
no,
figured.
I don't think he's gonna leave. Or like I hope he does our next meet. Like I think that's what will come out of this is just better discussion.
I wanted to bring it up, nothing else, but like it looked like there was like a whole lot of bad blood there and that kind of stuff in the comments and so on and so forth. And also, like to be honest, I can relate to his son. Like Tim feeling that way 100%. If it happened to my father, I'd be incensed. I'm a bit temperamental. You know,
I
You
can't
don't say.
imagine.
so I can relate like full heartedly there.
Yeah,
It's that all took place, but it basically comes down to miscommunication. And like you said, I hope the USAPL going forward does the right thing here, or or should I say, improves their systems. I saw
yeah,
Heather Foss in the comments, and she
mhm,
actually did a very good job of being professional and just asking the right questions and that kind of stuff, and
yeah,
impressed me. She's been doing a very good job of that field. She was there. She said, "All right, if I may ask, what division did you sign up for?" And from
yeah,
there on, basically just a very polite, very professional response. And that's something I like to see. No
yeah,
defensiveness there, nothing in nature. Without like just let's get the facts straight. Let's see what we can do better over here. And this
right,
is stuff, the maturity that I like to see going forward.
Yeah.
That's refreshing to see this. You
Yeah.
know,
Mistakes happen,
yes,
like Brian said, unfortunately it came at the cost of, a local community member.
yeah,
Um, but hopefully this mistake, allows everyone to sort of figure out how to fix things and moving forward.
yes, exactly.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
I think we've experienced that stuff before, and it's made us better as a
yes,
community. But
again, I'm just like very impressed by like how all regions played out. Very, I want to say, very efficiently run meet, very well organized run meet. Jan did a hell of a job against the production. We go back on
yeah,
YouTube, we're like watching the lifts and so on and so forth. And like this is fantastic. Very crisp
yeah,
quality.
Yep.
What's it called? Kevin Drew and everybody who's out there. I think Barbell Productions, these guys, per usual, knocked it out of the park.
Yep.
We love to see this stuff here.
mm,
We had some stellar performances there as well. The crowd was very energetic. It was a vibe. I'm not lying.
There was actually a couple more controversies that I just thought of.
Really?
One being the weigh-ins
yeah,
on Saturday.
Oh, Wayne Gate.
Weigh-in
yeah.
gate. Yeah.
That's not a very
So
ringing tone.
Oh, Scalegate. Oh, yes.
Scalegate.
Scalegate. Yeah. So I
Yes,
remember
that's
so Soph and I were getting ready to head over to the venue, and two of her lifters reached out and were like, I weighed in over. And she was like, and Soph, it was funny because Soph was like, "Oh, there's probably something wrong with the scale." And I was like, "Soph, come on, something wrong with the scale." And then we get there and I find out a whole host of other lifters
I guess.
13
weighed
girls.
in. Yeah, a bunch of people weighed in over. Kelly Spack was
Yeah,
one of them. I talked to her. She was like, "Yeah, I weighed myself last night and I was well under." And
yeah,
she still made weight, but she was
yeah,
like, she was like way closer to the weight class than she was the previous day. And
yeah,
so then we get halfway through the meet. Um, they find out the scale is like zero point 0.8 off by like 0.8 kilos.
yeah,
So they did the right thing, and they took everybody that weighed in over, and they subtracted zero point 0.8 kilos. And if you were still in the weight class, then like you got the guest lifter removed, and you were kind of
yeah.
Oh, nice.
back in the meet. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I thought that was really cool. But I was like, but yeah, it was people were very upset about that while it was happening.
But I can
Well,
imagine.
I mean, it's unfortunate. I will give. I know I'm biased, but I'll give Ryan a shout out because, uh, so one of
Oh,
our girls,
Ryan made a big stink about it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, he went in because one of our lifters, Krista, like weighed in the night before with her clothes, and she was at weight, and then she didn't eat a drink, and then she weighed in heavy,
Yeah.
and like not like to take one person's, but it's like
Yeah.
there's no way that's right,
Yeah.
and so she had to spit for an hour,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and but she was one of many people who had to do that.
Yeah.
And but again, this is a huge meet. Things happen. But the reason that was fixed was because Ryan did something about it. And it's unfortunate because it also played with things like Kelly was also battling with our other friend Kathy for best lifter. And it was like, now me, like I fucking hate dots. If someone says the word dot to me, I just like, I don't give a shit. Just lift more weight. But if you're going for best lifter to win your pro card, I was like, it kind of like messed with things a little bit. Again, like that's what we were talking before. Like things happen at bigger meets like this that you don't expect at local meets. So it's
Yeah.
like a different arena. But yeah, no, Alyssa went and corrected everything, and I think it was nice at that point because everyone was like, oh, sick. I'm not a good lifter anymore. But
Yeah, yeah.
um, one of those things where it's like it's unfortunate, but yeah. I mean, and with all things being like little things like this, and they might be big things to the people that happen to, but those things I think are bound to happen at big meets. We just hope that we learn and correct them, and
Yep.
we continue to get better as an organization.
So
Absolutely.
that seems to be the overarching trend. And with the
Yeah.
change in leadership of late and whatnot, I can only imagine that's going to continue. I've been hearing nothing but
Yeah.
good things.
Mhm.
It's these things that that keep in the USAPL. To be honest, like I don't
Yeah.
see this happening really just in like the IPF. I don't see it happening in Power America for damn sure.
Yeah.
It's refreshing to see that people are actually taking this stuff seriously and making these changes. And whoever I've spoken to,
Yeah.
like on the EC and all the positions and whatnot, have actually taken the time to listen to what I've had to say.
Right.
Which is again, it's refreshing to see that. I'm hoping that
Yeah.
continues. The regionals is a hell of a meet. I'm hoping they do something to maybe I guess like, fix the schedule a little bit better. Such that not
Mhm.
not every regionals meet is taking place at the same time. I'm not sure how that works out from an operational perspective. Maybe have one every week for like 2 months or like where the case happens to be. But
Mhm.
personally, from my own perspective, as a vendor, like for that perspective, I would certainly like to have I guess like, the meets I guess are kind of staggered, so they get a chance to show up to each one of these meets.
Yeah.
How many meets were taking place at the same time, but we could only do Northeast regionals.
Yeah.
So if we
Yeah.
had, like what's it called, like Midwest regionals was on the same time as Northeast. And I'd like to be out there Midwest, like have a booth up and that kind of stuff set up.
Yeah.
It's not easy like trucking the merchandise back and forth and that kind of stuff. But that's it's a very niche problem for us to have. We knocked it out of the park. White Toe had its best sales in its history, like per day, both days. I think we paid off the sponsor fee within maybe a half hour. It was
Yeah.
insane.
That's cool.
You know,
We're
so we did
rich
Yeah.
very very
now.
well. We are rich.
Rich. Not
Yes.
anymore, because when I walked up, I spun the wheel. He was like, "Yeah, go spin the wheel." He was like, "Yeah, you get a free pair," and I spun it, and I was like, "Oh, a free fucking pair." So,
Oh, you won a
Yes.
free. It was Brian was
Yes.
one of nice.
I told you I didn't want to accept free merchandise, but
He bribed me to get on the podcast. Is what happened?
Oh, is
yeah,
that how
yeah,
this?
that's really
That's
what
how
it
this
was. I was like,
happened.
That's
"Get
how
me
this
Okay.
on this worldwide podcast, and
Hell yeah.
I'll take these off your hands."
And then
Um,
so the third and final controversy, which I don't think a lot of people know about. I don't know how much of a controversy it really is, but at the end of Sunday, Jen
mhm.
Mello's lifter, I forget his name. He was a teen lifter
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
like,
140 plus, I believe,
mhm. Yeah,
weight class. Um, his last deadlift, he got 3 white lights, and then it was overturned by the jury to be. Did you not hear about this, Brian?
no, I didn't see her after the meet, so I didn't hear
Yeah,
about it. No.
so, I didn't see the lift. I was actually sitting downstairs with Ryan and Nick Dasati, and we were
Yeah.
just talking, and the meet was, like, pretty much over at that point, and then Jen Mello
Mhm.
comes down the escalator, and she's like, "Can I complain for a second?" Um, and Ryan was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And she's like, "My lifter," I forget his name, just
Mike.
pulled Mike, right?
Yeah,
He's 16 years old,
yeah,
just pulled his last deadlift, 3 whites apparently, or maybe 2 whites, I'm not quite sure, but it was a good lift. And then the
yeah.
jury, I'm not gonna mention which jury member, overturned it, went up to the kid and said, "That was an egregious violation of the rules."
What rule was it? Did he,
I'm
like,
not
sling the
sure. I
bar?
assume so. We were warming up on the same platform, her and I,
Yeah.
for deadlifts, and he's a bigger kid, and his deadlift lock. You know how big guys lock out their deadlifts? They look a
Yeah.
little, you know. So I assume that it had something to do with the lockout, but the refs gave it to him.
Yeah.
And then the jury member came over and said, kind of like put him on blast in front of everybody like that, overturn the lift. That's an egregious violation of the rules. And then the kid proceeded to walk off and cry, you know,
Um,
which
That's
is
the
like,
whole
what
that's,
exactly did he
lifter-friendly
do?
thing.
yeah. And like, I just think that that's absolute bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
not as a referee, and I, like, look, I'm, like, a local referee. I know I'm not, like, a category 1 or 2, but, like, uh, I know that your job is strictly to, you know, follow the rules and adhere to the rules, but, like, at some point, like, you're not there to ruin someone's day or police them.
yeah,
We're literally paying to, and I know you're volunteering, but, like, I don't know. The way you talk to people matters. Like,
Yeah.
did you just run this kid out? Like, I won't. I'm gonna look this up after this happened and talk to them. But like maybe like the way we talk to people can be better, and maybe not run people out of the sport and give people bad names for ourselves. Like
Yeah.
as soon as the thing happened with Tom, people were messaging me that saw like stuff that aren't in our relation, like see, dude, like this is what's wrong. I'm like, no. But like you guys put it into the world, so like maybe we can be better, lifter friendly, and just like I don't know, not putting the image out that we're here to like ruin people's days because their lockout was
A little
True,
egregious.
true.
soft or
Yeah.
whatever the guy. I didn't look up what he got, what they overturned it for. I didn't even see the lift itself.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming it had something to do with the lockout. But either way, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, like what the
No.
infraction was. It was a good lift. The refs
Yeah.
gave it to him. And then for a jury member to come over and say and overturn it when nobody even protested, by the way. No one protested the lift. It was just a
Yeah.
good lift.
I'm generally curious to see what that lift actually looked like. You know,
Yeah, I'm gonna go. After we're done, I'm gonna look at it.
I guess I am too now that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But still, I just think that I don't know. That's just kind of silly, you know.
I mean, it sounds like there may be some miscommunication, is what I would imagine. I
Yeah.
can't imagine the jury just getting up and saying, "By the way, flagrant violation," you know, for shit.
That's what happened.
You know,
Throw a flag.
yeah, throw a flag. You
Yeah,
know,
throw
like, you know, Stone Cold
remember when Ryan gave Gino the flags? Yeah.
Yeah.
At the
I actually
GPC?
don't mind that. I wanted to like if we did that whole thing with the platforms. Like, can this be our next thing that we influence is like challenge flags? I'm like,
That'd
it's
be-
so much cooler. Like
That would be. I mean, I think that
every
would be kinda
coach, I'm gonna
cool,
throw it
yeah.
every lift challenge. But that's. I mean, this could open a whole different conversation about how I feel about how refs should act and how we should, you know, have our referees. Like, in my mind, like, if I'm sitting in the chair and I give you a red light and I give you whatever flag to go with it, and you don't know what that means, and you come to me and ask me, I will tell you. But I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, you did something fucking wrong. How dare you?" Like, I don't. If we could get rid of that whole stigma, as if like, you know, USA powerlifting refs are out to ruin your day.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're on the path to that. Like, I think we're moving away from that. Like, USAPL is so strict. Like,
Yeah.
just say what you saw, and if
Yep.
someone has a question, then you talk to them. If not, just fucking let them go.
I do think though not that refs are out to ruin anyone's day. I don't think that. I don't think there's like
Some might be.
malicious. That's kind of where I'm going. Like, I don't think
I
there's
know.
necessarily a malicious intent behind some of this
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah.
some people get a little gung ho about like, I know the rules so well that like, you know, they like think that they are superior in some
Right.
way, and like, you
Right.
know, they're almost out to get people for minor infractions.
There are some out there, and there are actually some cultures I've noticed as well, which really, I guess, push into that. Like in Virginia, I don't know if you guys remember, like a little while back, you know, we
Mhm.
had the real, you know, standard, which certain, you know,
There was
states
the rule book standard, and then there was the Virginia standard.
The Virginia
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you have that also in some other places. I don't want to bash people so, but that needs to stop. That 100% needs to stop. If you read the rule book, and like I took the referee exam, I passed it, so on and so forth. I
Yeah.
felt like, you know, me going through the motions, like, you know, going through the process, becoming an actual official, posed a bit of a conflict of interest. You know, like me being like, you know, owning a brand and so on and so forth. So I kind of held
Yeah.
off on that. But you read the rule book, and it says there that we're supposed to give the lifter the benefit of the doubt. When you
Mhm.
hear referees saying out there, I don't know what happened, but I gave him a red. Like, what are you doing?
It should be a white light. It's a white
Yeah, it
light.
should be a white light in that case. If you're unsure, you give him a white light.
Yeah.
You know, in the
There's
jury,
so
like,
many,
it's
like-
jury, you know, you get. I got.
Sorry. I remember like I had this conversation with Cam at Nationals recently, and I was like, kind of like giving my like, there's so many little things you could go back and forth with. Like, obviously, to me, like how I've been explained, it's you have to basically prove to me that it's infraction. Like, you don't. Tie should always go to the runner. If you're not sure, it's a white.
Yep.
And there's no way of like quantifying that. But if like, I don't know if that's, you know,
Yeah.
if he squatted to depth, it's a fucking white light then. Like, if you don't definitively know there was an infraction, it's a white. And then there's other things like, if you, and I know there's been some talk about it recently about like changing chairs and stuff and giving the same standard, but like, if I don't know, like if I'm a new ref and the guy across from me is, you know, a Cat 2 ref and he gives an infraction that I didn't see, and I'm like, "What'd you give him?" And now I know and I can see the infraction, so now it's influencing how I do it. I was like, "Are we going?" That's very deep to go to, but like, at some point, like we just need to reinforce that, like, if my personal opinion and my personal viewpoint, I don't see an infraction or I'm not sure, it's a white light. End of story. That's it.
That's just how it has to be. And there's something
Yeah.
else that I saw at nationals, which really, I guess, like, rubbed me the very wrong way. Um, and like, it is what it is. Limitations exist. But remember the jury being there, and I'm trying to
Mm.
overturn some calls which I found to be a little bit fugazi. I posted jury, and on 3 occasions, I want to say, they told me they didn't see what I was talking about,
Did they say we agree?
and they said we agree.
So
We
I
agree with
tried to
with the
turn it on
finding.
them.
Yeah.
Someone said it to me, and I was like, "You agree with me?" And we like started laughing, but I was like, "No, no, really, do you agree with me? Like, please agree with me."
Yeah,
But
that's probably
yeah,
what I should have did. Instead, I got my balls busted as I posted like I'm like, so what was that called? Like, what do you mean? Like, are you trying to see if we can overturn? I'm like, why am I
yeah,
coaching you? You're like, why
you weren't the
why are
only
we kind
one.
of sitting here? You know?
Yeah, you
So
weren't the
like I
only
had
one.
those issues, and I think there can be some easy fixes with this.
Sure.
I've recommended, I suggested that they have little iPads, for each one, like each one of the referees, and
Mm,
well, you get the feed of the lift that's all being put to YouTube and whatnot. If like what you do, basically you scrub backwards when something seems
mhm.
contentious, somebody shows up to the table, so you don't have the referees looking at like two platforms at the same time. I'm sorry, the
Right.
jury looking at two platforms at the same time. The eyes kind of like spread outwards, splayed to be able to see every lift. But now you have something taking place. Somebody refers it to you, and basically you do a review of it.
Like an instant
Yeah.
replay type of
Yes,
thing?
let's replay. If my shitty football team when I was in the FDNY without a budget this big, there was essentially like a Girl Scout, like selling cookies and whatnot to pay for tickets, like to travel, so to play games, could
Yeah.
afford to have the equipment for us to be able to do it in real time. I'm sure the USAPL could manage to happen. And they were talking about how it might take too much time for them to revisit things and so on and so forth. But either way, they're gonna have to sit down and they're gonna have to confirm. And
Yeah.
like when you give people the time and you show that you're actually scrubbing back and you're looking at it, you're comparing and showing it to them, you give them the dignity and of your time. And when they
Yeah.
receive that, people are a lot less likely to be butthurt about it. They're a lot less likely to be inflammatory in the response to what just happened. They go, "Oh, you know what? You may have a point there."
Right.
I think this is something that we need to consider. The overall user experience, going back to what you were saying before, it
Yeah.
should be lifter friendly. This is something which I think would help out. And a couple of iPads doesn't cost much. It costs a lot less than to have extra jury members for each platform be there for each
I
session.
think I mean,
For,
I think that would work out in the favor of both sides too, where like, if you are a lifter that maybe didn't squat to depth, for instance,
Yeah.
right? And you go over and you try to protest it, and
Mhm.
there's actually a video, an instant replay video of you not squatting to depth, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't make the jury look as bad or
ridiculous.
like or yeah, as if they're like trying to, be too strict or overly strict or not taking the side of the refs versus the lifter, and then the lifter can go off like they'll still be upset probably, but
Mhm.
they can't. There's no doubt in their mind now as
That
to
they messed
whether
up.
they can't go off and start making Instagram posts about like I hit depth and the refs and the jury screwed me over.
Like,
It's like
actually, yeah.
actually no, like
Yeah.
yeah, you know.
I mean that's I was talking with someone about this too because it was someone's first time and they're like, "How do I record my video so I can show the jury that," I'm like, "You don't.
The jury
You just can't
doesn't care
record it."
about your video,
Yeah,
buddy.
it
Yeah.
just doesn't.
They don't
Yeah,
care.
that's not a
But like
thing.
it's not like unheard of with how much we've progressed just with like the technology of what we're able to use now, like someone like your brother, like may be able to have a job where they pay him to
Yeah.
like, all right, pull up that video. Like if we can do half the stuff that we do right now at meets,
I mean,
production
we have
wise,
entire production companies there, like
yeah,
recording from all different angles. It's just
sure.
like, all right, take one of those people and, for squat, record from the side, because
Yeah.
that's where you're going to see, you could
Yes.
see pretty much everything from the side, from soft knees to depth to anything you're going to want to
Up
look
and
at.
down motion.
Up and exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Upside
So,
down motion. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. And like on it, they even have they have the technology now where you could like track the barbell velocity and
Yeah.
like, to see if it even moves up and down or whatever the case. Not that you need
I
to,
would be
not that you need to go
stressed.
that deep, right? Not that you need to. I'm just saying it
Yeah.
exists,
Right.
and it wouldn't be expensive to do that.
No.
No, I know.
It's a
I
good
think
idea to discuss in the future, I think. Yeah.
not just, but it also prevents people like from defecting and leaving the sport. So you have people have these like turn off events, right? Like we're basically experience this and in their
They go,
mind,
fuck the
fuck this,
USAPL.
or they
Oh.
go, bro. It's like
Yeah.
some of the most vitriolic DMs that I get about the USAPL
Yeah.
are about imagined a contention between lifters and the officials. I'm like,
Yeah. They
that's your
they
issue?
squatted a mile high. They got red lights, and then they
Yeah,
go, "I'm going to powerlifting America."
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like that was your beef.
Yeah.
That they upheld the standard. Like, how many times have you
Yeah.
had this issue? Oh, it's happened quite a few times, so that's clear they're coming after me. Like, no, that means you're not
Yeah.
upholding the standard.
Yeah, it
I'm
means
like,
you were
this,
squatting high in training and nobody
yeah,
told you, and you went to
yeah,
the meet and got red lights, and now you're upset about it. Like,
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's just like terrible judgment. Like, and it's the same person, by the way, decided to unfollow me after I said no to that. I was like, that's not reason for like leaving so, and then made a
screw
story
you
post.
too,
And,
Brolic
and, and, then, and, then,
Graham.
and then made a story post trying to cancel me about like the songs that I used in my stories, like and
They
literally
try to
every
cancel
artist
you for
I've ever used.
songs?
For songs, yeah.
Uh,
Everything from Smashing Pumpkins to whatchamacallit, to Kid Cudi to pretty much every rap artist I had up there, Kanye West, you name him. And I get
how
Kanye West.
dare
Don't
you?
get me wrong, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm actually like if and when I use it recently, just particularly to trigger certain people,
Yeah.
I despise the guy. But I'm like,
But like
this,
Smashing
this,
Pumpkins, dude, really? Like
yeah, like
you're gonna put
legit,
that
like
up? How
yeah, she's
fucking
talking.
dare you?
Yeah, she's talking about that stuff. I'm like, bro, like this is not what time of day it is. It's
Yeah.
a lack of proper judgment. So
Yeah.
I think preventing people from having those blowups and whatnot through measures like this could help out a lot because if you show that
Yeah.
person that indeed this is what I'm seeing, it mollifies that. All
Yeah.
of a sudden, oh, maybe being shitty right now. Maybe I should slow it down a little bit. But
Yeah.
also, I think we need to do something in this end. It's like local meets as well. They see the
Mm.
vast majority of lifters, who have bad meets at their first meet, go on to never lift again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's a lost opportunity for us. It's something that we could do to basically do to prevent that from happening, to retain membership and to keep people out there, to
yeah,
prevent people from getting like bent out of shape about what's happening in
yeah.
meets,
Like
feeling.
there needs to be a good balance of upholding the rules while being lifter friendly, like Brian
Yeah.
says.
Right. Right. And I think we're heading in that direction. And, like it's easy for us to take these like situations that we're very, involved with or close to or
Yeah.
saw, but like, so in general, like, I mean, I hope we're not just talking shit about everybody. But I think that it's generally moving in a good direction. But yeah, no, that's not a bad idea. I don't like, I guess, like even soccer was like the example. Like we will never use video replay. Like it would ruin the sport.
Yeah.
Like, well, we got to now. It's like,
Yeah.
I get it. Also there's no money in our sport, so it doesn't fucking matter. But, it's not a bad idea. It would require like the infrastructure to do it. It'd be like, but again, if we're paying like $200 to travel across the country to compete at a meet where we don't make money and no one
Yeah.
cares about our hobby, maybe like $20 of that can go to pay someone
Yeah.
like your brother or a
And
production person.
it doesn't need to be like technology like that wouldn't need to be used at a local level because there's no
Mm,
jury, right? I think it would be at meets like region where there's a jury and up.
State
yeah,
plus.
Yeah, state and up. Where
yeah,
there's
for sure.
where it's a much bigger meet, there's a jury, and like where especially now that there's qualifying totals for these meets, like
Yeah,
it's not your first meet, you've done this before, like you should be um s- familiar enough with the rules to where you're not losing your shit over not squatting to depth. You
I
know what I
agree.
mean?
right.
I just think at local meets we probably need to exercise just a little bit better discretion. Like
Yeah,
like if this is a person's first meet, it's a local meet, like 30,
Mhm.
30, 40 people there and whatnot, and we're like out there, like kneeling down, like where's his depth at over here? There's butt pop off the bench press or whatnot. What's that downward motion on deadlifts and whatnot? You have to reconsider, like we have to look at the context. This is
Yeah,
a kid. It's a first meet.
yeah,
Let's see what
yeah,
takes place here.
yeah,
Give them reds, whatever, like, and then redirect, provide feedback and that kind of stuff, just so they make better decisions.
Yeah.
Something of that nature. Like I don't even know, man. Maybe like have like maybe have a designated handler or like somebody of that nature in the back just to kind of basically. That's maybe I'm asking too much right now. 100% I'm asking too much. Just I see these people going in there, they have no clue what's going on. Their openers like fucking 50 pounds north of where it should be, and they bomb out.
No, but you see that a lot at local meets where people
Yeah.
come in, they don't really know the rules. They don't
Yeah.
even really know what to expect, and then they bomb out on squat because they didn't lock their knees or something. Like they hit all three lifts, they didn't lock, and it's like, of course there's a standard. You have to uphold the standard. Like you can't be bending the rules for one person and not another
Hmm.
person.
True,
But
true.
like just maybe a little more flexibility with someone who like that, who it's their first meet, they're not an experienced lifter.
They're out there
Like,
in the wrestling singlet, you
yeah,
know,
they're out
with the
there in a
ribband
wrestling
knee
singlet. They
sleeves,
have no belt. Sometimes they don't even have sleeves. You know
it's
what I
like a
mean?
dark
Like
iron belt.
they're like, yeah, like, and we've seen these people
Yeah,
at GPT meets. Like Ryan
Yeah.
gives them a singlet, Ryan gives them socks. Like they
Yeah.
don't know anything, and then like they have the absolute worst experience ever, and then never lift again.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's
I
like
I
we
think.
want them to you want like even just from a community building, from a business standpoint, you want them to keep coming back to these meets, you
Yeah.
know?
yes.
I think we've been doing more rookie meets. I think those are a good thing.
I think that's a
I
great
think
idea.
I
Yeah,
think that
excellent.
it might, and like I think I have more of uh a place to do it, since we haven't had a lot this year, but like we had so many meets where it's like if I see someone alone and doing something mildly like terrifying, I think that like I stopped being like, oh, I'll let him be. Like I just go up and be like, hey, just so you know this, you maybe
Yeah,
you're gonna have a bad time. And if they don't respond, I just go away.
yeah.
But like I'm not, I think that might also
If you
fall to like
if you
community
pizza
people.
when you're supposed to French fry, you're
Have a
gonna
bad
have a
time.
bad time.
Gonna have a
Exactly.
bad time. Yeah. Another white toast shirt you can probably make. Yeah.
Actually, that's a
Yeah.
great idea. I
Yeah.
don't know if we could do that though. It's probably copyright because that's
It's South Park. They don't
it's
care.
a South Park reference. Yeah,
Yeah. They're fine.
I know they probably wouldn't care.
Yeah. But no, it might just be like the intention of the people in our community to do so. And that like my first meet, like, I distinctly remember someone helping me a lot. And like, I wasn't a part of GPT yet. And like, people there were just helping me a lot. And I might have bombed out, or I might have something stupid and not realized, but like, that should never go away, because you see it more just because of the explosion of like, of social media and people only knowing how to talk through, text messages or comments and stuff. But like, to a point, like extending help and being a part of like a helpful community was the draw to this sport for me and a lot
Yeah.
of us. So something like that, you hope that like we wouldn't have to make a rule about, or like change or bend the rules, or like it should just be like, hey, look out for each other.
Yeah,
But
Yes.
I totally agree. And
I
that's
agree.
like
yeah.
it's almost like Yealy mentioned, like the designated handler. Like
Yeah.
uh, uh, it depending. I feel like it's like depending on the context, it might be asking a lot, but in many cases, it's not. Like if consider a local meet at GPT or the meets we used to run there, right? Like
Yeah.
any one of the coaches could help out with like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that might not be the case at every local meet,
Yeah.
but like if you are a coach listening to this, right? Like, and you see someone like that at a meet, like help them out. It's, you don't have to completely take them under your wing and warm them up and put their attempts in and all these things. But like, if
Mhm.
you see them making egregious mistakes that, like you said, they're gonna end up having a bad time. Just
Mhm.
let them know and
Yeah.
correct them and say, hey, like, I'm seeing this, and if you go out there and do that, they're gonna give you red lights, and
Yeah.
they might not even know what bombing out means. They might not know if they don't get 3 lifts, they're going to be disqualified from the meet. So just say, hey, like if you do that and then you do it 2 more times, like you're kind of out of the meat. So I
You're
would,
gonna have a bad time.
exactly right.
But
Uh,
it's like it's also a twofold opportunity when you look at it. I mean, just if you unpack it even slightly from a pragmatic business perspective here, by doing that, you keep the person in the sport.
Yeah.
yeah,
And now this person does not have a coach, or they have a very
Yeah.
shitty coach, probably not there, probably 5 minutes away. I didn't feel like going to the meet. And what happens now? All of a sudden, you have yourself a new client.
yeah,
You have a new lifter on your
I
team,
clap.
and
I
it's
clap for that.
as simple as being a decent person. It's as simple as lending the courtesy that you wish somebody else would have lent you at your first meet. For example, my first meet, like I had no idea about any of this stuff. I didn't even know what the hell Raw was. I just showed up over there. I was like, oh, I guess Raw means no knee sleeves, and proceeded to squat 475 with no knee sleeves and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, all right,
Hell yeah.
maybe I have a position, maybe go first place, see what happens. And Larry Wheels happens to be at that meet as well. I'm like, oh wow, I have no
Shit.
chance of podiuming going here at
Yeah.
all. It was him, it
Yeah.
was Kevin Oak, and like I don't know how many other like monsters and mutants, like
Yeah.
doing their thing. It's like, oh shit, like, what
You're
the
like,
fuck?
I'm
Yeah.
squatting almost 500 pounds. Like, that's got to be good,
Yeah.
right?
This man just
Got
opened up
this.
on bench press with my deadlift opener.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
that's
know?
not daunting at all.
Yeah. No, but I do like the idea of rookie meets, right? Where
Yeah.
it's everybody's first meet, and you
Yeah.
can be a little more flexible, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to be a stickler about every single little fucking yellow card or red card or blue card infraction, right? You can
Yeah.
obviously, like I said, you have to uphold the standard, but you could be a little more flexible. You can maybe guide the lifters a little more because they tend to be smaller meets too,
Yeah.
and like you probably don't have like even the refs could, say to the lifter like, hey, here's what you did wrong, like do this better next time. Like it's a little more intimate like that, where
Sure.
it's I'm not saying not to like completely bend rules and if someone's squatting 6 inches high just to give them white lights, but like, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, red light their lift, but like tell them why and like maybe
Right.
let them take weight off the bar. I don't know. Like I don't know if maybe I'm serious. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
maybe you could
Honestly, it's not
write
a bad idea. That's not.
write a
I think
different
that's a bad
I
idea. The
don't
rookie
know.
meets.
Like I don't know. I'm just like I'm just thinking of like you want to build the community, you want to be
Yes.
lifter friendly, you want to be inclusive, and like
Yeah.
just being like a stickler about the rules to someone at their first meet is like I feel like it's not the way to do that.
No, of course
Right.
not. Because you lose
Right.
that person. They're not coming back to sport powerlifting. And furthermore, they're shit talking sport to other people.
Yeah.
So you lose
Yeah.
credibility. You lose them. You lose potentially like other people, other members of the sport itself. Just that we have to think about the consequences of things that we do over here in the context of wanting to grow the sport. Because honestly, that's
Yeah.
what it comes down to. And don't get me wrong, we have to maintain the integrity of the sport, maintain the standard, and that kind of stuff. But there's ways and levels about this. There's a whole lot of nuance here that I think that we can impart upon these officials to take into consideration when they're executing their duties. It's
Yeah.
things to think about. Like,
And
what do
I think it's and another thing too is like the majority that aren't competing at high, like I know we all love to talk about high level powerlifting, but like
Mhm.
the 1-2% of elite powerlifters are not propping up the sport. They're not
not at
propping up
all.
the organization.
Yes.
They're not the reason that
No.
you're able to do these big meets for regionals.
No.
It is
No. Fact.
it is the other, 98, 99% of the members in
Mhm.
the organization that are paying to allow for these
100%.
big meets and everything to happen, So like,
Yep. Powerlifting America has all the clout. They have the likes, they have like the shares, engagement, all that kind of stuff. All that's taking place because of like the big lifters who are there. Clearly, the eyes are on the federation, and yet their secretary general position is a volunteer position.
Yeah. Yeah.
USAPL's executives, they make bank.
Yeah.
And it's open to see. Back in 2019, when they still had the books open and whatnot, there were six figures.
and the USAPL productions are
Yes, they're fantastic.
significantly better.
Yeah, they are. But yeah,
Powerlifting
just,
America.
bro, the amount of people they have showing up to the meets. Regionals, if memory serves correctly, had a lot more people show up than Powerlifting America's nationals, and that's
Was it? I don't remember
I believe so. I believe
roster.
I believe so. It's in that range. Like I say, like more or less.
Probably. And we're just
So-
talking about a regional meet here that has an
Yes.
incredible production, right? They have vendor booths, they have food, they have all kinds of stuff that like
Yes.
keep people engaged and entertained throughout the entire weekend. And it's just a regional meet,
Yes.
and
But you do the numbers. 400, 500 people
that's-
signed up for this meet.
yeah,
Bro, that's an incredible amount of resources you have available with that. So that's
Yep.
how this stuff how it takes place. Just these are things to consider. We consider basically that's what drives it. And like people can appeal to, I guess, like you're saying, like the higher level lifters and whatnot, but that's a couple of individuals. And ultimately, when you consider these higher level lifters,
yeah, it's like 20
Yeah.
people. Like they're not,
Yeah.
they're not
they
bringing
also-
in a shitload of money for the organization to
But they also-
to spend on powerlifting.
but conversely, they actually cost the federation. You have to imagine when they show up to Arnold's and they win, that's couple racks there. You know,
True.
Yeah.
True.
like
Especially,
now,
yeah, if we're talking money meets, absolutely.
yes, and our pro lifters, what I understand, are also like given free accommodations at hotels, in the USAPL. So you have all these
Mm,
things taking
is
place here.
that
Yeah,
true?
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah,
That's cool.
at least one of the regionals, like events did. I forget exactly which one it was, but it was free accommodations to hotel. It might have been Midwest Regionals, if I remember correctly. But these things taking place here, so there's investments there. So you know, we have to consider that the elite lifters, they drive the clout, they drive the engagement, but the backbone of each and every federation is that new person making their way onto the platform for the first time.
Yep.
Because that person's going to do the local meet and they're going to say, oh man, I kind of fucked up over here. What can I do? Or they're going to say, damn, we're like, fuck this federation, fuck this sport. I want nothing to do with it. But if
Mhm.
the person chooses the former over the latter, then they're going to be doing the next local meet and the next state meet and next regional meet and next national meet. And
Yeah.
hopefully they become one of the new faces of the sport.
Yeah.
You don't know. But we have the opportunity there to make that happen, to convert that person to a lifelong member of the sport. Of the sport. And we have to find
Exactly.
ways to do that. We have to think a little bit creatively, I feel. And I really, and people think I'm very biased towards USAPL just because, like, for shits and giggles, I get nothing out of it at all. Legitimately, I get nothing out of it. There's no incentive. I don't get paid. I don't get
What are they
back.
paying you?
And conversely, they bomb me out at the Arnold. You know, they call me for squat depth on my squats.
That's
They're
why
coming
he,
at me in
that's
all
why
different
he get that,
directions.
that's why he gets paid. He threatened to leave.
Yeah. That's all an image.
He said, "I'm done
Well, that's
now." And they said, "No, Yuli, wait, we'll pay you $5,000
nothing.
a year to promote the." Yeah, nothing.
Things that did
Well,
not
that's
happen.
that was a decision. I don't fault anyone for going either way, but like that was the decision that was made in the split. It was we're gonna invest more in people that we think are going to be like featured in the sport, or like people like the international level, or USAPL went well. We're gonna make sure that we support the local meets and everyone in the organization, and
Yeah.
whatever choice you want to do, like it's fine, but like. I personally don't give a fuck about elite lifters at any level. Like, he's like a member of my team where I know them. Like, I don't care. Like,
I'm actually with you on that. Like, I'm not
yeah. I
a
just
fan.
like,
I'm not a fan of powerlifting. Like, I don't really
yeah.
pay attention much to like
I just,
I'll watch IPF Worlds, but like I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. But
Like
like in the moment, like I'm not like I don't. For
I'm
me,
not
like,
like, oh my god, like Bob Matthews or like,
yeah,
I'm not
I
like
don't care.
I don't
Like
care
if,
that much. Especially like when I got into the sport too, it was like I kind of got into it on a whim. Like I
yeah,
was dating this girl who wanted to get into powerlifting, and I was working at a gym, and a trainer I worked with Kevin. So I
Close your
introduced
ears.
so I through that mutual friend, I introduced her to my former coach, and we
yeah,
went to train with them and the team, right? And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like I'm gonna do this, and like I've always been, more I don't want to say like I've always been an athlete, right? But like
yeah,
I've always leaned towards doing some sort of recreational sport. I played
Yeah.
hockey when I was younger. So like when I got into powerlifting, like when I didn't know anything about powerlifting. Like I
right,
learned a little bit like as I was training for my first meet, but I wasn't like, looking at these guys at the top like, oh my God, this is so amazing. It was just like, oh, this whole like local community and like this is really cool. And like I enjoy like doing the sport myself. You know what I mean? And it
right.
was like that's how I sort of engage in the community. And I've just never been like a huge fan of the sport itself,
Well,
if that
yeah,
makes
the
sense.
people. No, that's how I think most people who stick around had a similar experience. Anyone, and it's not like to downplay anyone's entrance into the sport, but like if you get in because you saw some elite lifter do this and be like, I want to be like that, I feel like the likelihood of you sticking around and doing this is not high because you're just not going to have a good time. Like,
Yeah,
you're not going
yeah.
to be that
I'm,
person.
You're
I'm
comparing
not.
unless you are a genetic outlier, comparing
Yeah.
yourself to some of the best in the world is like,
Well, see, I think it
Yeah.
also comes down to the way you compare yourself to people. Like, I actually got into
Yeah.
powerlifting. What motivated me to get into the sport to actually compete, believe it or not, as ridiculous as it may sound, and like, you think of the comparison here. It was me showing up like I was like, I remember being at LA Fitness and people saying he's not natty because like how strong I was, maybe my physique at the time. There's a reason why I
Yeah.
called myself Brologram back in the day. And I was like, I'll grow my britches here. And you go someplace where people take training seriously and that kind of stuff. And I went to Mount Vernon
Hmm.
Barbell. At Mount Vernon Barbell,
Yeah.
I ran into Kevin Oak. and I ran into
Yeah.
Larry Williams, aka Larry Wheels. It was
Yeah.
watching those two monsters do what they were doing that drew me into the sport. And
Sure.
I drew comparisons, like, look where I'm at right now, and look at them. So I compare myself to them.
Yeah.
But I said that's a place where I may well be one day.
But you
And then
also did
so
that in person.
yes,
Yeah, I
You
think
and then
saw
so,
like you
so
went to a gym and you enter the community
yeah.
and you just happen to be at like, oh, that guy has the world record squat. Like that
yeah,
happens to be, and that happens all the time. You know, like, and I mean, I think I'm grateful I walked into GPT and be like, wow, like I'm never gonna be the big fish here. Like I'm gonna stay here. But like uh it's different. It might be like the changing of the times where like there's some people accessing the sport through social media or something that they're not physically connected to.
right.
But like, yeah, that
You're right
seems to
because
me like as soon as you walk into a powerlifting gym, you're more likely to be hooked because now you're hooked into a community locally and maybe at a bigger level.
Yeah, I think
yes,
that's a
and
little
then,
bit different than just like seeing some high level IPF lifter on Instagram and being like, I'm going to do
Yeah,
powerlifting because I want to be
true,
that person. And I don't
and
think
then
there's
and just
necessarily, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with like comparing yourself. Like it's there, it's certainly something to strive towards.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like if you want to, if you want to try to be one of the best in
precisely.
this sport, like I don't think that you shouldn't try to do that, nor do
Sure.
I think that you should be discouraged from trying to do that. But
Right.
like, not everybody, like, not everybody's going to be an elite lifter. It's a small percentage of the total power lifters in the world, and like
Right.
it's like becoming a billionaire. It's
Yeah.
like not.
Yeah.
It's just like it's very unlikely to happen. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with like striving towards that goal though. I think if you're a little bit, you need a little bit of like delusional ambition in
Yes,
powerlifting to
Sure.
like to get
yes,
somewhere. You know what I mean?
yes.
But not everyone's gonna get there, and like you also have to be okay with that if you want to be a lifelong. Because like let's say you get into the sport and you're like I'm gonna be this, and and you train for 4 years and you don't get anywhere near that, and then you go,
Yeah.
you know what, fuck this, I'm just gonna quit.
Mhm.
Like like I'm probably never gonna like I've been doing this for like 8 years already, and I'm like I haven't even
Yeah.
qualified for nationals, but I'm not gonna ever stop. Do I think
Yeah.
that maybe I could still qualify for? Yes, I do. I'm not that far off, but like I recognize that I'm never gonna be like fucking top 10, top
Yeah.
5, top
Right.
3. But that doesn't like discourage me from still doing the sport.
Right.
Even if I
It
wasn't a
shouldn't.
coach. Exactly. Like even if I wasn't a coach in the sport, like I would still do it because it's fun. I like being part of the community. Gives me an outlet, an athletic outlet. It gives me something to train for. So I wouldn't stop doing it because like I get to a point where I recognize, you know what, I'm not as gifted as I thought I was getting into this, and now I just don't want to do it anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
the way that I
Yeah.
look
I
at
mean,
it
it's
is,
kind of like,
there's no one on this planet who's made worse for being strong, and much to the
yeah.
opposite, much to the contrary. Being strong keeps you young. It keeps you fresh, and obviously the motion stays in motion. And one of the best
I
ways to do
agree.
that, one of the most sustainable ways to do so, is through strength, the strength training. It helps.
Yeah.
It builds character, it maintains discipline. It gives you purpose. It gives you meaning and fulfillment in life. And you're
I
going to deal
totally agree.
with difficulties. You're going to deal with hardships and whatnot. Like it's just part of any sport, to be honest. But I think out of
Yeah,
all the
I
sports
agree.
out there, the most sustainable is indeed powerlifting because it's just like how two dimensional it is. You can choose the load.
Yeah.
I
You're not being tackled by a
Yeah.
barbell like out of the blue. You're not jumping for a shot and landing on your ankle and like rolling at RP6. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen.
Yeah. That
These
is
are
kind
things
of
to
cool though.
consider here. You know, Would be.
We should
yeah.
do a barbell fighting sport though. That'd be kind of cool.
Just jousting
That'd
in the lake of
Jousting, or just like
water.
someone in the crowd takes you out in the middle of the lift. It'd be exciting, at least.
But I know it's cliche, but like it is you versus you at the end of the day, and that's like one of the
Mhm.
great things about powerlifting, right? Like you don't act like you can go into a meet and try to beat other people, if you are in a position to do that, that's awesome. But if you're not, then you just go in and try to beat yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if it's your first time at nationals and you're going to place last, like don't get upset that you didn't make it into the top 10. Like just go in and
Right.
try to beat your best numbers or whatever the case may be, or just try to go 9 for 9, even if, you know what I mean? Like you just
Yeah.
try to do good for yourself.
Do your best. Find
I
wins.
think
Speaking
that
of
like
wins, sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Do
Go
your
ahead.
best always.
um I've had this talk before too, and I wish that I wish Honestly, that like at this point in my life that I chose a team sport. I just feel like I would enjoy that so much more. And I'm like envious of the people I coach that have a team because like a built-in community, you have your designated job. It's like you're all working towards something. Like to me, that's so much more desirable than just like, I don't know. I like powerlifting. It's just an inherently like in some ways selfish sport. Like I know it all falls to me and there's some like, desirable factor about that. But like I so much wish that I was in a team sport. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but like craving like that, like
Which sport? I'm curious.
I don't know, fucking like competitive pickleball or something. I don't something stupid.
Every
I coach
single
a lot of
fucking day, that fucking pipeline grows larger and larger, and you're
I
contributing to
know.
the problem, Brian.
I know. I'm gonna fucking make it to the top.
I'm gonna make it to the
I
top.
I coach a good amount of roller derby athletes, which is like again like a niche sport. It's like the same as powerlifting. We're like, what the fuck do? You lift weight? That's fucking stupid. But like it's such a not better community, but like I don't know. Like I feel so much more hyped up. Like if I'm like, all right, my team, my people are going to actively compete against another team, and there's a sense of unity and community that you can't get rid of that we very much lose in powerlifting. And the idea of like us having teams where be like, I'm proud of my team and my coaches and my athletes and friends and everyone. But and I will say I do love that we're doing Battle of the Regions because it's like some more like I don't know, like unity, competitive aspect to it that we don't have usually in powerlifting. And it's just like the more we can grasp onto stuff that like mimics a team or community or like, this kind of Battle of the Regions meet or something like that is more attractive to me. It's probably more attractive to people that are coming in that they can instantly be a part of something rather than just be like, I'm going to be by myself for a while until someone like helps me or I got to pay someone money that lives in fucking the other side of the country and tell me what to do so I can wear their shirt and their logo, but I never meet them. Weird. Not
True.
too like inciting.
Or if I'm out to
So
meet,
I
they
don't know. I
put
don't know.
out a photo, you know.
Or I get yelled at because I agreed to select out my deadlift. Like I don't know. I don't, I've always like wanted more of a team because honestly, like we've lost a bunch of people over the years and no like fault. Like it's not like we're mad at them, but like people just leave the sport, and people like, and like I wish we could hold on to that. And I wish we could have more of like a team-esque thing in our sport. Uh, that's just me personally, but we'd probably hold on to more people. We'd probably make it more attractive to people coming in. And I don't know, we wouldn't have like as many selfish assholes or like shitty coaches or like, I don't know, a lot of the bullshit that we talk and you guys make memes about all the time. So like, I don't know, I don't know how we get there, but I think some of the ideas that we've come up recently as a federation are heading there.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
think. No, go ahead.
No, like I agree. Like I think we're finally making those decisions, and I'm seeing people who are capable of understanding the traditions and Brother Bennett's message and that kind of stuff, but also seeing where we need to go and making reconciling those two and finding a way to move forward. We're seeing that in USAPL, and it's something which is good to see.
Yeah.
Um, I poo-poo powerlifting America, whatever the case happens to be quite a bit. I talk shit on them, yada yada. I have some issues with the ethics, whatnot, but the younger people who are part of the leadership or people trying to make a change there are doing a pretty decent job of that too, I feel.
Yeah, and I hope the team aspect sort of grows because I do really like that.
Yeah.
And I know it's not like a traditional sort of like you explained, like roller derby, right? Where everyone sort
Yeah.
of has this position that they play and they're all working together to beat another team directly, right? You're playing
Yeah.
head to head with another team. And that's not untrue in powerlifting. Like if you but it's also a matter of like how many lifters you bring to a meet.
Yeah.
Because like each lifter scores a X amount of points and then it's tallied up at the end and then, it's likely just the coach who brings the most lifters wins as the team, you know.
Yes.
And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. But like, hopefully that aspect brings more people into the fold that like want to do or want to be part of a team. I think the
Yeah.
the other hard thing too is like when you don't have a gym
Uh,
community like Team GPT
2% battery life. Just so you guys know,
Yeah.
I'm about to die out over here.
Okay. Um, uh, I think it's tough too when you don't have a gym community like team like
Yeah.
everybody goes to Team GPT, they train together, right?
Yeah.
When you're just an online coach and you don't have an in-person space where people come train with you, it's like as much as we try to create this team aspect on, on a medium like Slack or something and create this community and it works to a degree, but like you said, you have lifters on the other side of the country that you coach, they go do a meet, you might not be able to go out and handle them.
Yeah.
They wear your logo, but you never actually meet these people. And like
Hmm.
it's like, oh, but you're part of our team. It's like, yes, but kind of not either. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
like
There's disconnect.
there's
Yeah.
disconnect, exactly. So,
Yeah.
like, I do like this idea of the team scoring, but it's still a matter of, like, all the lifters showing up to the same meet too, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if in the age of where online coaching is such a big thing in powerlifting, if we can sort of figure out a way to incorporate team members, if you will, from like different regions across the country, different states across the country. I don't know how the fuck you would do that.
Yeah.
But like how to create more of a team sport out of it. I'm not really sure, but like,
Yeah. It'll take some time. I think maybe like I know Eric Hogan has a lot of ideas in this, and we've talked about it. And
yeah.
I honestly love what he did at regionals in Maine and how that team aspect worked. But there might be a whole other podcast. I don't know. That'd be cool if we like actually like wouldn't be a bad topic to get like us and Eric on just to talk about like that perspective. Like there's a lot of room for it, but it just takes time.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'm done. I'm done. Um, I guess that that
Yeah,
pretty
I
much
think
wraps it up.
Yealy's battery's about to die, so I think we should just
Yeah.
probably wrap this
Or
thing up at this point.
Just
But
want to say,
it was great to have you. No, I was just gonna say it was great to have you on, Brian. I think this was
yeah.
a great conversation. We'd love to have you on again to maybe continue this.
Yeah.
And when Yealy has a full battery,
Yeah.
and we can continue this conversation
when I'm not
uninterrupted,
in
and
an
he's
Irish
not in the
pub.
Yeah.
when he's not in an
Yeah.
Irish pub waiting for calls to house fires and things like that.
Yeah. Shout out to Doers too. Thanks for sponsoring the podcast. Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it'd be
No.
great to
Yeah.
have you and Ryan on. Have Ryan come in
Yes.
and give
Yeah. Yeah.
his 2 cents.
Whenever you guys
So
want to do that, I'm down to. We
well, let's
obviously
make it
do this
happen.
all the time anyway, but we can broadcast it.
I'm down. Brian, would you mind giving the audience some information as to where to reach out to you and where to find you?
Sure. I
No, because
have.
Instagram
Brian
handle.
doesn't like powerlifting.
Yeah. Don't talk to me. No. Yeah. My Instagram is I have two. I have a gym one where it's Brian_GPT, and then my name Brian Bellitto, where I basically just guilt you into adopting dogs. And that's all. And then yeah, like Team GPT, Gleason Performance Training. We're out of Ansonia in Connecticut, but we do online coaching too. So yeah, anywhere you want to reach out, whether you want to talk about lifting or dogs or like I don't know, cool things to eat or just how you hate powerlifting, I'm down for all that.
All right,
Well,
very
But
cool,
thank you
Brian.
guys for having me.
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to everybody who's listening. Thank you to everybody I guess who's tuning in. We appreciate you
If you're
guys.
still listening, thank you.
If you're still listening, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, share. It helps a whole lot and whatnot. And just let us know what you think. Roast away in the comments, that kind of stuff per usual. We appreciate hearing from you guys and whatnot. And with that said, thank you guys for tuning in and peace.